Okay, thanks.
Okay, well I guess I'll close out and I'll leave it for the questions and answers, but I thank you for your time and for getting up on Sunday morning to come in here, because this is a really important issue.
Good morning, I'm Anthony Marr. I'm from Canada and I have been abroad. I don't know how Alex spent 4 years in Japan. I mean, when you go to Japan's international airport, there's not a single English sign anywhere. People don't speak English. The GPS provided by in rental cars are strictly Japanese. When I went to Japan, it's lucky that I could read some Chinese, and there was something in common between the Chinese and Japanese language, so I could eat fine. But anyway, so how are you? Anyway, three segments to talk about. Number one is why we have to go abroad to campaign. Let me just give you one example of the Canadian seal hunt or seal massacre, we like to call it. We have campaigned, and lots and lots of groups. Sea Shepherd, certainly for sure, taking a big lead, and have participated in the seal campaign. And from what I've learned about how to wage the seal campaign, campaigning within Canada is totally and 100% waste of time. I've got people to write letters to the fisheries minister, to our prime minister, to whatever source that we feel was appropriate to the situation. And what we got were letters that looked like individually written, but in fact form letters. I received a very nicely written letter from the fisheries minister as a result of one of my letters to him. And I was quite excited to say that, wow, finally he's paying some attention. So I showed it to my friend Steve Thompson in Vancouver, and he took a look at it and he laughed. And he said, "Just a moment, Anthony," and he went into his office, dug out a letter about 3 years prior, and it's word for word the same letter that I received, except it was signed by a different person. So then I've learned that, given this waste of time, it's best to do something else. So I took the campaign down to the USA for my 5th long tour. It's my Seal War tour, and on my car I've got it painted, "I am Canadian, boycott my country." And I got lots and lots of toots on the horn when I was passing people on the highway, and thumbs up when I was going around street corners. And as a result of a whole range of groups that work on this campaign, particularly HSUS, doing the seafood boycott, I personally would like to see a much broader boycott than just seafood, anything Canadian, in my opinion, because if you're not opposed to it, you're for it. And Canada as a whole needs to be really put in its place. So taking the campaign out to the US has a lot of benefits. You get external pressure. The US is the first country in the world to ban Canadian seal products. Thank you to your government. It's not the current administration, I have to point out. So, and then the campaign went really international. Everybody, and not just me, Sea Shepherd, even HSUS, went to Europe to campaign for European countries to follow the US lead to boycott Canadian seal products. And one European country went for it after another, including the Netherlands, Belgium, Croatia, Luxembourg, eventually Italy, even Turkey, Germany, France, Spain, I believe. And that was in yesteryears. And this year, the entire European Parliament got together and came up with, I believe, a resolution to ban Canadian seal products EU-wide. And it is through this kind of international campaigning that you can really affect change inside your own country. So if you don't like something in the US, you can just go all over the world for the world to apply pressure on your country. And that's what I do. And that's why I'm here today in the US, because there is something horrible in Canada that needs to be put in this place as well. In fact, shut down within 3 years. And that's the Canadian tar sands, which is not one of the, it is by far the, bar none, the Canadian Alberta tar sands. It's by far the environmentally most destructive project ever launched by humans in history. And my group's objective is to shut it down within 3 years. And it is like a mouse saying that I'm going to knock over T-Rex.
What is it? What is it?
The Canadian tar sands. It's horrible. It is semi-solid tar gluing together a whole bunch of sand, and you need to apply steam to melt the tar into a semi-liquid form. So that sounds easy, but in order to provide the steam, you've got to put in energy in the form of natural gas. And Canada is a big natural gas producer, but Canada cannot produce enough natural gas to fuel that operation. Even today, there are 6 mines. Canada wants to have 20 mines by 2020, which is absolutely a suicidal course of action by our species, no doubt. And even with these 6 mines, we're using enough natural gas to fuel 3.8 million homes. There is not a single state in the US except perhaps New York and California with that many homes. And they use enough water to supply a city of 1 million people. And that water is drawn from the watershed right near the tar sands. The tar sands are huge. When I was in the tar sands 3 weeks ago, I chartered a plane that took me in a straight line at 150 miles per hour from the airport to the farthest point and returned. We can go any farther. In this hour and a half at 150 miles per hour, it is complete moonscape, except it is wet and it is black. And the wastewater is just dumped onto the ground in so-called tailing ponds. There is no plastic liner or anything like that. Toxic stuff seeps into the watershed, seeps into the water table, seeps into the river, and you can never ever clean it up. I mean, I used to be an environmental consultant and environmental technologist whose job is to monitor the mining discharges from British Columbian mines and pulp mills. And we're very strict. Even if it's 1 part per million higher than the maximum allowable concentration set by the government, you can shut down that mine until they got it cleaned up and got the problem solved. These tar sands are so horribly polluting that even if I can tell you, even I've taken water samples and got it analyzed in the lab where I used to work. Even if you dilute the discharge water by 1,000%, by 1,000 times, and then you analyze it. Thank you. I'm getting to the animals right now. And analyze that, and dilute it 1,000 times and analyze it, you cannot pass by a wide margin. So that is just, so what happens is that the Canadian government violates its own law by eliminating the environmental assessment process, so that anybody with any money that want to develop a mine, Canada will at once give you a permit to do that within 2 weeks. Usually when you want to open a mine here, you need about 3 or 4 years for an environmental study first. So it is all big money, big oil pressing down this issue onto the Earth's environment. Now, where animals are concerned, the water is so toxic that all the animals drinking from this water are themselves toxic. And if you eat them, you get cancer. That's what the native people are getting. Sky-high cancer brings shocking forms of cancer. So much for that tar sands. Going back to international pressure, once again, working in Canada against that is totally futile. So what I'm doing is to take the campaign around the world over the next 3 years, covering 5 continents, 25 countries. I want to form an international alliance against the Canadian tar sands and crush it within 3 years. So that's the first thing I want to say is go international to force your own country to do what you want. Secondly, for example, if you want to go to a country, there are many benefits. And it makes things very easy for you. When I go to India, if you are a foreign national, if you have any reputation whatsoever, if you have any clearly defined message that you want to give to the Indian people, all you have to do is to call up the media and say, hey, here I am, I'm going to give a presentation at such and such a place, you're welcome to come. Well, guess what? In any city here, you'll be lucky with 1 TV station showing up in 1 newspaper at any given event. In India, when you send out a media release, as I did, 50 newspapers show up, together with 3 or 4 news stations. The only catch is that you would have to give them each a gift package. Otherwise they won't come. But if you give them a gift package and you pre-announce that you're going to give them a gift package of so many dollars worth, they'll swarm out and cover you. So it doesn't matter if you have even a reputation. So that is really a very effective way of doing things. When you want to speak in an Indian school, for example, and if you, does anybody know Craig Kilberger? He is currently about 20 years old, I guess, but when in the mid-1990s he was 12 years old. His mother supported him to go to India to challenge Indians' child labor laws. He was just 12 years old. He just got school after school inviting him to go and speak. He generated a movement like you won't believe. He preceded my arrival in India by about 5 years, and when I got there, child labor was a hot issue because of this boy, 12 years old. Today he's pretty hot. A young activist, too bad he's not here. Japan is a little bit tougher. Japan